We know, right? When you grow up black or you grow up Latino, right, in the era that I grew up in, becoming a police officer was not something my family wanted me to do. And they grew up in a different era, right? And so you're always taught a certain thing about police. You're always taught, stay away, right? You're always taught those things. And so when I became a police officer, as many of my colleagues, we came in for different reasons, right? We came in to change. We came in to be a part of something new. And now we're on this break front of doing just that.
Hey, Black and Blue fam, welcome to the Black and Blue podcast, where we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement. My name is Dale, and I'm the host. Hey, but this is a different version of the show. This is Black and Blue Street Life. This is where I take the show out of the studio and into the streets. Today I'm at a very special location out here in Santa Monica, California, at the Santa Monica, California Police Department, and you'll get to see the backdrop here in a minute. And I got a very special guest for you here today. But before I get into that, I want to ask y'all, hey, make sure you check out me on all my social media pages. I'm at Black and Blue US. That's on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all that. So check me out for all the videos, and you can also check out even more content. So like I said, I'm here at the Santa Monica, California Police Department, very picturesque city. I'm sure you've all seen it in the videos and movies and TV shows and all that, but today I've got the Deputy Chief of their police department. Everyone please help me welcome to the show, Deputy Chief Darrick Jacob. How you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
All right. So like I said, we are here at your department here at Santa Monica. How long you been here now?
I've been here, this is year 20 for me.
Wow, year 20. Okay, so you're a lifer?
No, actually I came from another organization. I lateraled here from the LA County Sheriff's Department in 2004, and I was there for about 3 years there. And before that I was with the State University, California State University Police at Northridge for about 6 years prior to that.
Okay, so were you at Northridge when the big one happened, the earthquake?
I was a student.
Wow.
I was.
You were a student.
Was.
Wow.
1994.
Because I remember waking up, because I was like in the middle of the night, and we all woke up to that. What was that experience like for you?
I thought God was coming for us all. I thought the rapture was happening.
Yeah, and he was. But yeah, that was a tough ordeal that we all went through. We had freeways falling and all that happened back then.
That's right.
Yeah, but you were a student there, huh?
I was a student, but working for the police department.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were you studying back then?
I was a health science major.
Okay, health science, huh?
Yes, sir.
So did you get a degree in health science?
I did.
Okay, and did you didn't want to go into that career?
No, I eventually went on and got my master's in public administration right after that.
Okay. And so you decided to go on to the police department there. How long were you there?
About 6 years. The good thing about becoming a police officer at Northridge is you got to go to school for free, and so it helped pay for college. And so after my military career, coming then into school, it was really tough to pay for school. So I became a police officer there to help pay for to help go to school for free.
Trust me, I know all about paying for college. I got 2 in college right now.
That's right.
And I did the same thing. So I got my master's. Yeah, it's not fun, but you got to do it to progress in life and in your career as well. So yeah. So after Northridge, you decided to go to
LA County Sheriff's Department.
Oh yeah. How was that experience like for you?
It was great. I love the Sheriff's Department. Definitely a fan of the department. Not a fan of the county, but definitely a fan of the Sheriff's Department. I worked custody up at Wayside. And then I ended up at a kind of another place called Custody Support Services, where we reviewed a bunch of kind of things. So we monitored all 7 jails that we had at that time.
Okay. Wayside's not around anymore, right?
It is.
Is it still?
It is called Peter Pitch's Detention Center.
Right.
But there's 4 jails up there.
Okay. And you were long gone before Twin Towers?
No, I was there after Twin Towers. So I was, when my last assignment, I got assigned to Twin Towers.
Okay. All right. And then what made you want to leave and come to Santa Monica?
This is about in 2004, 2003. We had gone like several years without a contract, like 6 years, and it was kind of that mass exodus time. And so we didn't have a lot of support from the county. In our pay and some of the benefits and the things that we were doing. And so I said, if I was going to leave the Sheriff's Department, I'm going to go to the place that's the gold Cadillac, if you will. I wanted to go out and look and find a place that represented me. And at that time, then Chief Jim Butts was the police chief here in Santa Monica. And back in those days, he was kind of an enigma kind of guy. And this department really had diversity in it. They were doing things the right way. And I had several friends who were here, and I said, I got to be part of that.
Yeah. I was looking through some pictures here, and some of the old pictures from like 1960. They showed some African Americans at the police department, even way back then.
That's right. I believe our first police officer started. Well, Santa Monica is a community that historically had a large black population. If you didn't know, the movie The Inkwell. That's here in Santa Monica, so it was one of the only black-only beaches that we could go during segregation, and so it was right here in Santa Monica off Bay Street. And so that lively history of African Americans has been in our community for quite some time. And so when we hired police officers back in the early part of the century, all they could do was police other black people. They weren't allowed to police the rest of the white community, only the black community.
Wow, yeah. Wasn't there a story, I don't know if it was Santa Monica, but one of the beaches around here, and there was a family that had to sue because they had their beach taken away, their property taken away, and then years later, I don't know if it was 80 years later, they finally got it back. Was that Santa Monica? Or
no, it wasn't
nearby?
Santa Monica. That's Bruce's Beach, and that's down the coast a little bit. I think that happened in Manhattan Beach or Redondo Beach, but one of those cities.
Yeah, one of those beaches, yeah. And back then we could only police each other, and
That's right.
My times have changed because now you're a deputy chief.
I am.
What was your career like here at Santa Monica?
It's been great. Started off as an officer. By the time I came over, I had about 8 years on. Quickly kind of moved through field training officer. Then I got a shot at detectives, did that for a little bit. Then quickly became a detective. Worked property crimes like kind of everyone where we start doing that. And in a city like Santa Monica, we have a lot of property crimes. So got to do that. Moved up through the ranks, sergeant. I policed. I've done a bunch of things as in my sergeant, patrol sergeant, FTO sergeant. I was a supervisor of the comm center. I even had the animal control, personnel in training personnel in training sergeant. I've done a little bit of things here, and when I promoted through lieutenant, I got to be the SWAT commander, patrol lieutenant, watch commander in charge of our FTO program, the homeless liaison detail, which is our homeless program that we have here in Santa Monica, which is kind of a well-known kind of a program and how we do things and how we deal with our homeless here in Santa Monica. Then promoted to captain, and the rest is history. And I've been here. I've been a lucky guy. Lucky guy.
Santa Monica, like I said in the intro, there's really beautiful and picturesque and all that. But like you said, the homeless coordinator program that you guys have here, homelessness has always been part of the forefront here. Between Venice and Santa Monica, which are neighboring cities. What's your approach on Santa Monica's approach to homelessness?
Yeah, so West Side, we are because of our beach, because of our warm weather, we get a lot of homeless folks to our city. So about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, our department invested in a team called HELP, which is our homeless liaison program, and so they help with our hardest service-resistant individuals who are homeless. So, as we know, right, homelessness is plaguing the country throughout the country. But we know that 50% of all homeless people reside in 4 states, right? California, Nevada, Washington, and Arizona. And so they're all here. And then 50% of all those people are in California. So 25% of the nation's homeless people are in the state of California. And we have 65,000 here in our region, just in the LA County region alone. That includes Skid Row and other places, but we have a large majority here on the west side as well. And then with light rail, their ability to go from one place to another is greatly increased. And in Santa Monica, we have a terminus where our light rail ends in our city. And so we have folks that come and sleep on our beach. They come for our services. They come for a bunch of different things. And so our program deals specifically with those who are service resistant. And so we take our high utilizers, we call them HUGs, high utilizer group, that deals with police officers, that deals with the police. How many times are they arrested? How many times do they use fire services? Are they always a man down? Are they always drunk? Are they always transported? And also our hospital services. And we conglomerate those into a particular group. And then our homeless team, our help team, along with other city services and county services, go out and specifically attack those groups and really constantly try to get services for those folks so that they get off the street and so that they actually reduce the calls for service for the police department and the burden on the community that we have.
Right. What's the success rate of a program like that?
It's good because we keep adding new people as other folks fall off, and so that list, and one of the groups that they really focus on is encampments. As you know, in LA County, housing's at a premium. And as the economy worsens and as rents go up, people fall into homelessness, and so we really make sure that we focus on those groups of folks and that folks aren't camping outside. And kind of disrupting the kind of normal life that happens. But it's hard. It's how do you do that with compassion, right? And how do we do that with reverence, right? Because these are people, and we have to remember that in everything that we do, right? We can't just sweep people along, right? We can't just do something about homeless people, right? And if there's no place to put them, we can't police our way out of homelessness, right? So we work with our service care providers. We work with the county to do the best things that we can to make sure that people can, A, get their needs met, B, that they're not committing crimes out in the street, because that's, we deal with homeless people that identify themselves as criminals. And so that's our big push and our big group that we deal with. So it's a tough front. It's a tough front in LA County. It's a tough front in California.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got, homelessness, and then we've got other property crimes that, you said you have to deal with a lot here in Santa Monica. What's kind of the demographics here in Santa Monica?
Our demographics, we're predominantly white. I think we have 16% Latino in our Latino Latinx in our city, and we have about a 4% black population. I think our Asian population is right around that same. So we're pretty much white and Latino.
And it's more of an affluent community, or?
People would think so, but it's not quite that. So roughly 70% of all of our folks in our city are renters in our city. And so, and in that, so our city has a really big population of folks who are affected by rent control in our city to keep prices low. Our city really works on trying to make it affordable for all walks of life to be in our city. And so we do have the ultra rich, and then we still have folks who are barely making it and who are struggling, and so it's not quite as affluent as people think.
Oh, okay. But you got a robust tourist community that comes here to Santa Monica to visit the pier and the beach and all that as well, right?
Absolutely, 8 million visitors a year. So we get almost as many visitors here to Santa Monica as they do in Hawaii.
Wow, as much as Hawaii, huh?
Right.
Okay, but you don't have quite the accommodations for them, though, right?
We do. We have, if you've ever been to our city along Ocean Boulevard, we have, several large hotels, and throughout the city and on the west side for people to visit. It's a tourist destination, right? We have the pier, we have the 3rd Street Promenade. And as of recently, our city's now turned into Silicon Beach. And so as a lot of these big corporations are leaving the Silicon Valley, they're now coming to Santa Monica. So we have Google in our city, we have Twitter in our city, we have Snap in our city, and other folks and other production places in our city. So along with the tourism, we also have the industry that goes with that to back that up on the other side.
Not a bad place to be if
That's
you're,
okay.
if you're Google and all that, right?
It's okay.
Yeah. How do you like policing the city here? I mean, you got beach patrols, I'm sure, and
We
you
do.
know.
We do.
How come you're not wearing shorts today?
We don't. Yeah, right. You want to see my calves? But in our city, it's. I love policing in Santa Monica. We have like 7 neighborhood groups, if not more, and then business community, and all of them believe that they're the community. All of them believe that they have special needs, and what affects, as most folks, right, as most people look in their cities, what affects this particular group, what affects this community, this particular community, can be a complete 180 on what affects someone else in a different area or a completely different business. And so it's actually, it can be difficult sometimes, right? Because this city is not homogenous. It has, like I said, we have different communities, different business communities, different groups, all vying for your attention, all vying for what they believe is different. So it's difficult to be pulled in a bunch of different ways, but it's exciting. Every day is not, as we always say, right? Every day is exciting, and nothing's ever normal.
Yeah.
And so it's good.
Don't jinx it when you say normal.
That's right. That's right. Knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. And how large is the department? Does this kind of mirror the community as well?
Yeah. So the department is, we have about 93,000 residents in our city, but our department is about 221 sworn. But we're unique, and most police departments are probably 70-30 sworn versus civilian. We have about 50-50. So we have about another 230 professional staff that work at our police department. So we're about 450 size for the entire department.
Wow. And what are the civilian employees responsible for?
We have public service officers, which are responsible for parks, our airport, also down on our 3rd Street promenade. We have community service officers, which take traffic reports, cold crime reports, cold reports. We also have a robust, as you can imagine in Santa Monica, parking unit that does a bunch of parking.
Yeah, trying to find parking here was
very difficult. It's at
a
a premium here. We also have, as normal other police departments have, where we have forensics, we have our records division, we have dispatch. Well, dispatch is kind of another department, but it's located in our building with us. But yeah, so we're kind of a full-service police department with a bunch of different things going on at one time.
Now, when you said dispatch is another department, do you have like a multi-jurisdictional? Like I think Redondo and all those guys have
South
like
Bay.
yeah.
We have actually a combined fire and police dispatch, and they operate under the Office of Emergency Management in our city. So although they're co-located in the department, they actually don't report to us.
Oh, okay. But you said you were assigned there at one point?
When it used to be assigned to the police department.
When it used to be.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It left us about 8-9 years ago.
Okay. Were they happy about that, or?
It happened when they had when they combined police and fire. They used to have 2 separate dispatch centers in the building, but when they combined them, it just made sense to move them into the Office of Emergency Management so that the police nor the fire department was in charge of them.
Gotcha. But the fire department have their own operations, police department has their own operations. What's your relationship like with fire?
Oh, we have a great relationship with our fire department. Luckily, in small agencies, small cities, smaller cities like ours, we respond with them on a lot of different things, and their administration is here in our building, so we see them often and speak with them often, and we work with them. We have a very good working relationship.
Yeah, there's always just a friendly rivalry between the two groups, but yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say there's never a rivalry, but we get along pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, we all got to serve the public and,
That's right.
and all that there. So. You didn't mention if you kind of mirror the community as far as Caucasians, as far as Hispanics and blacks, and you're a deputy chief yourself as African American.
That's right. So our city is, as I said, 4% African American. Our police department, I think we're 16% African American. We're about 39% Hispanic, 39% white, and I think we're about like 8 or 9% Asian. So we are definitely more diverse than our community, and we're actually the most diverse department in our city.
Yeah,
So,
I could see that. I could see that. And women as well. You introduced me to a lieutenant.
that's
earlier.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I think we have women through all of our ranks. We have a female captain. We have several female lieutenants, a few female sergeants, 3 or 4 female sergeants, and throughout our agency. And that's one of the areas that we could do better as cities and communities now begin to embrace equity and inclusion in police departments. I'm happy to say that our department's been doing it for 30 years. We had trailblazers back in the day when I started this profession. There wasn't a lot of people who look like me at positions where I'm at now, and so we've done well here in Santa Monica. But one of the areas that we do could use a lot of work is obviously in our women. And hiring women to do the job, and I think we're right around 9% women, which is about the average, 12%, which is about the average in the nation.
Is Santa Monica part of the 30 by 30?
Yes, we are. I was just going to mention that.
Yeah.
We've signed on to it, and so I have my backgrounders and my recruitment team actively seeking out qualified women and to find women in some of these areas. We're looking at teachers. We're looking at a bunch of different areas that are usually kind of heavily women influenced. We're looking to leave those. But again, one of the things that we have to do as administrators is break down the barriers, right? And how do we get, and interesting enough, some of those barriers are to motherhood, right? How do we cope with that? How do we cope with, some of our female officers who want to be mothers, who want to move on in their family, and they're stuck because they don't want anything handed to them, right? They're some of our best police officers that we have, but they want to have kids and they want to have families, and so they have to be in position sometimes that it's not the narco that they can go out at all hours of the night and be gone 7 days a week and working, right? And that kind of a fixed schedule is something that's important. So we have to work around barriers to make it equitable so that we can bring women into our jobs.
We've got to be flexible in that. A few years ago, I interviewed a former chief here, Seabrooks,
Yes.
and really awesome lady,
Yes.
dynamic, and we spoke about that on a panel discussion, and
Yes.
she spoke about those same very issues.
That's it.
Those same issues.
Absolutely.
So we got to be intentional and try to bring in women and be flexible with schedules. And
That's right.
because we talk about men aren't expected to, even though we should be. When a call comes that your kid is sick, most of the time men aren't the ones that are leaving the job to go take care of the sick kid, but a woman will.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we got to be intentional on that. Got to be intentional on that. So here in Santa Monica, you mentioned there are a multitude of things to do, and you were SWAT and you were detectives and all those sorts of things. Are you guys actively recruiting? Are you down on bodies?
We're down on bodies like everybody
else.
We're actively recruiting. So if you want a job, come. We're looking for you. Santa Monica is hiring. Santa Monica PD is hiring. And I think one of the things is being intentional about. We see a lot of agencies out now like offering recruitment bonuses and all types of money to go out there. Currently, we're not doing that. I think we're a great place to work, and I think you can give all the money that you want, but if the organization is not in a place that people want to work at, right? If people don't feel like it's family, then they're not going to be there, right? And so you can offer all the money up front, but then they come into an organization that's crappy, that's poorly run, that has disgruntled people. People are still going to leave. People are going to retire out, and people are still going to leave. We have a very good retention rate. Unless most of our officers don't leave unless they're retiring. Most of our officers don't go to other agencies. I can count the number of our officers that have gone to other agencies in the last 20 years on one hand, maybe two.
Well, you're
fingers.
pretty much tops in pay in the county, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And benefits, but again, you can pay anybody anything that
Sure.
you want, and it still has to work with your working environment. And you have to treat people with respect. You have to treat people with dignity. People have to come into the door and see people like you. They have to come in and see people of all around making it in different ranks. And so we don't. We're diversified, right? And we have women, we have blacks, we have we have Asians, we have whites, we have everyone, and it's a place. No matter of your color, no matter what you look like, you should be able to succeed, right? It's based on that, and that's our organization. And so, and I think we have a very good family culture. Like, we care about each other. You know, when I was with the sheriff's department, right, I was a number.
Yes, yes.
I was a number, right? And we make sure that we know people, we know their names. We know their families, and that they can bring their families here. We have retirees that still come back to the police department. We have retirees that are working for us now in 960 capacities, doing our backgrounds because they know what we expect. They know our culture. They know what we're looking for, and they know what type of people we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are small enough that you do know, each other's names and each other's family.
That's right.
But you're also large enough where you can have a diversity of assignments. So, you're not just a small agency where you just have one or two assignments and you're kind of pigeonholed and stuck. So, yeah, it's a great place.
That's right.
It's a great place. So, Santa Monica, we were talking about, the diversity in the community, but, 2020 brought up, a lot of things here in law enforcement that's still affecting us today. People don't want to become police officers because what was, with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all that sort of stuff. How did those events affect you here in Santa Monica?
Well, it affected us, right? And if everyone was watching the news, right, we got hit. We were one of the places that ended up in kind of, one of the riots that happened in our city, and our officers were devastated. First of all, devastated in the events that happened in George Floyd, right, and how that happened, and that black eye that affects us all, right? It gives us, I don't know one police officer who said, "What happened to George Floyd? That was right."
Yeah, not one.
That was, I don't know one. I don't know one. And we all saw it. We all knew what happened, and it put people in a quandary, right? It put people, especially our minority officers, in a kind of a weird state, because we could see. We know, right? When you grow up black or you grow up Latino, right, in the era that I grew up in, becoming a police officer was not something my family wanted me to do. And they grew up in a different era, right? And so you're always taught a certain thing about police. You're always taught, stay away, right? You're always taught those things. And so when I became a police officer, as many of my colleagues, we came in for different reasons, right? We came in to change. We came in to be a part of something new. And now we're on this break front of doing just that, right? Of being at the forefront of change, right? And seeing it. And I think American policing, and I mean, we can always point to, someplace down in the South that's not kind of professional. But in California, man, we've taken strides to be better than a lot of the other places, right? And how we think and the steps we go through to clear out. Now, clearly, are there bad officers out there? 100%. 100%. And we have to do our best is to single those folks out, and to, more importantly, punish them and exercise ourselves of them when that ugly hair wears up. And so when the events of George Floyd hit us here in Santa Monica, our city was torn, right? Unfortunately, we had looters that came into our city. We had a large protest that, depending on where you were at, some people say peaceful. My officers who were taking rocks and bottles and cement and other things will tell you differently. But it was a fiasco, and it was, getting the community to heal. And coalesce behind, a mission to make us safer. And so so out of that came a bunch of different things, oversight commissions, new laws in California that we're all kind of dealing with and trying to figure out how to work through. But I have a resilient department, a resilient workforce. So making sure they're taken care of, making sure that they get all the mental health that they need, all the resiliency help that they need to do it. I'm still scarred from those days, right? I still smell, I think for like 4 or 5 months, I was telling a colleague, I smelled tear gas. I heard sirens every time I went to sleep, right? And those are scars, right? Those are those emotional traumas that we carry with us on these particular issues and these particular things. And so I think, and then our community is scarred. Our community, right? They saw us not on our best day. They saw us kind of ill-prepared on some of the things. So there's a lot of healing to make up and to move forward.
Yeah, yeah. And in our profession, a place all the way in Minnesota or even in Memphis
That's right.
can have long-lasting effects
That's right.
out here in California.
That's
so, they paint us with this, broad brush.
That's right.
That we're all the same, and we're all not the same.
We are not.
Different agencies have different standards and training, and maybe that is the problem. I've heard that discussion that maybe there should be a nationwide standard. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's interesting about that. I do think that there should be a nationwide standard, and there's plenty of examples to look out into the world about that. And we can talk about 2015 after Ferguson. The Obama administration, that DOJ, the Holder administration, came out with 21st century policing, right? And it came out with those pillars as a standard, right? And we were fortunate enough here in California, or at least in our agency, to go, yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, we got that. Oh, where are you doing that? Oh, yeah, we do that. Oh, yeah, we already got that. And so for us, it was not a heavy lift. We were already doing those things, but there's a disparity. That not every police department is a police department, right? And with training and a lot of other things, and some of them lack the funds, lack the ability to meet those training requirements or to get those things that they need to be successful in their communities. And so yeah, it's hard, but I do think there should be some standards. There should be some basic standards on how we do work and what we do and how we do it, because we all can look at police videos and we see them now, right? They're plentiful. Go on YouTube and you can see police officers doing badly. I wish there was a YouTube channel of police officers doing their work good and professionally, like we do.
There is one. It's called Black and Blue.
That's right, right? But 99.9% of the time, we are doing the right thing, right? And our officers are doing the right thing throughout the country, right? We're putting ourselves out there. We're saving lives. We're stopping and arresting criminals. But that's an afterthought, because we want to focus on the one or the few that happen, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, that's the time we live in nowadays.
Yeah.
You always, social media, you got to get the clicks and all that sort of stuff. So they're going to focus on that. They're not going to focus on when you're doing right, because that's not sexy. That doesn't grab the headlines.
That's
so
right. That's right.
Police officer did right.
That's right.
What is that? So, but you mentioned some agencies lack the funding and all that to get the training. Sometimes I feel like that's a cop out, because you don't really need funding to do the right thing all the time. So that's where we go. Where we are with that.
That's right, and I think everyone has a golden rule, right? We treat everyone with dignity, respect. We treat everyone like we want to be treated. We would treat people as we tell our officers. We have to treat people like that's a member of our family, right? Because they're a member of somebody's family.
Yep.
They may not be ours, right? And we have a duty to treat them with respect until there's a bright line that they don't. And then, of course, unfortunately, right, we have to do what we have to do. And uses of force are not always pretty. They're never pretty.
Never.
Right? They're never pretty. But it is a part of this job, and it's an unfortunate part of the job that we have to do, that we're tasked with, and sometimes deadly force with that. And we have to be able to make sure that we give our officers all the tools, all the decision-making apparatuses, and the things to do what they have to do. So then, when that unfortunate decision has to happen, that they're making the right choice, that there's a reverence for life, that they're using de-escalation tactics. And then at the very end, if they have to do what they have to do, then as a department, we have to support them on that as well, right? We have to be behind our officers. If we're asking them to go out into these situations, or asking them to deal with these deadly things, we can't throw them to the wolves, right? We have to stand and protect our officers when they do the right thing, just as much as we have to kick them out when they're doing doing the worst.
Yeah,
thing.
absolutely. Have you found that a lot of officers in this day and age don't want to deal with what's going on in, say, in the media and the public perception of police nowadays?
Well, yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard when you can't go down and this is an honorable profession, right? It's hard when you can't go out in public and say I'm a police officer and be proud of it, because I guarantee you, everyone in our buildings, everyone in every police agencies are very proud of what they do, right? This is something we work very, very hard to get. We don't just sign up on a piece of paper and go, I want to be a police officer, and then we become a police officer, right? We know there's work to be involved in, and there's continuous work that we have to do to make sure that we are up on standards and doing the right thing. So, yeah, it's hard, and it's difficult when the media and everyone around you is constantly on you. I remember, at some points in our time when our officers felt like our city had turned on us, and that was the first time. And we have a very progressive community here in Santa Monica, very progressive, but they've always been very supportive of its police department. And so when we kind of got into this thing, it was like people were looking at us sideways, like we have never experienced that before. And but then, right, it started to come back, right? We kept doing the work, kept doing what we're supposed to do, and then it was like, we support you, right? It was like kind of like a Marvel movie, like Hail Hydra, like we support you, and saying thank you again, and then having our folks understand what we went through as well. And so that, I think, for our officers, that's important, right? We don't do this stuff because we feel it in our heart, yes, but we work with our community, and most police departments do, right? We want our communities, we need our community support to do the work that we do. And so when there's kind of this, disfavor, this kind of rub between the community and the police departments, right? That's when things go bad, right? Transparency, distrust, all of these things that we've been talking about, for the last 60 years. Come into play. And so we as the police department have to reach out and grab those hands of our community members, and especially those who hate us the worst, right? Those are the ones that we have to show and touch. And sometimes they don't want us, but that's okay. We'll keep doing what we do.
Right. And you talked about that we need the community as much as they need us. I work in another county. I work in the Inland Empire.
That's right.
And we hear the horror stories about your county, LA County, about things not really being prosecuted and looked at seriously out here in your county. How does that affect the police work that your officers do out here?
We try to tell it does affect the work. Obviously, it affects work, because when you go out and you make a good arrest and you see the DA will go, yeah, well, we're not going to file that, or that wasn't caught on body-worn camera, we don't believe the officer, we're not going to do that.
Wow.
That is troublesome, right? And when our DA is releasing folks, I don't want to turn this political, but in the work, right? If you are releasing this era of kind of decriminalization and kind of population of our jails, I understand. When we had Prop 4757, 103, 109, like all of those were written by well-intentioned people, right? They believe that the prison systems are overcrowding, except what normally happens in California is that there's nothing on the back end. So we release all these folks out into the street with no support. Right. And so when we go out, and now methamphetamine use, heroin use are misdemeanors. And so now, fentanyl is huge now in California, and we have people dying on our streets.
Every day.
Every day. We had something like, I think I got a report from my lieutenant, we have over 100 Narcan saves last year. Yep. Over 100. And we're still counting. I think it was like 125. Narcan saves. And those are the ones we saved. Right. And so as cops, right, we put cops on dots, we put service. So we go out and we try to make an arrest to stop, the illegal behavior, right? And so if I stop you for heroin and I arrest you, it's a misdemeanor. And so in 6 hours, provided you have no warrants, provided you have nothing going on, a judge doesn't need to see you, I'll let you go out the back door with a citation. But I also let you out the back door with a citation and also your addiction. Still with your same addiction. And what are you going to do to get your addiction? You're going to commit more crimes, because opioid addiction is one of the worst addictions on the planet.
Absolutely.
And they're sick.
Yeah. Yep.
And so they will do anything that they can to get that drug again. So that means stealing, doing all the things that they can to end up back in custody. But it's kind of this revolving door. And so it's hard for our officers. It's hard to see kind of them doing work. And then, we've seen our production go down. We've seen but happily, our arrests have gone up as officers have kind of been reinvigorated to do the work and to do things.
And I don't want to make it sound like it's just an LA County problem, because you mentioned the propositions, 47 and all of them. We experienced the same thing in the Inland Empire as well. I'm an FTO, and just last week my trainee and I had to run into a guy 3 times, for possession, and each time it's just a ticket, right? It's just a ticket, right? Whereas maybe 10, 15 years ago they were going to county jail, and that's where they receive the services. They get time to detox and get those services. So we've seen that difference as well.
Well, it's an interesting story. We just had a few months ago. It was a sad case where we actually had we ended up at an overdose call, and officers administer Narcan, bring him back, take him to the hospital, and then they go back several hours later. He'd left the hospital and done more drugs and then died. He actually overdosed. Same shift.
Yep.
Saved and then died in the same shift.
Some of those are, those are hard demons to break.
That's right.
But if you don't get, sometimes you need to get forced into some sort of treatment program. To maintain it, you got to want it. But that's where jail was. They can receive those services.
That's right.
So
That's right.
yeah, absolutely. And what's next for you?
This is year 28 starting. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what's there. I got kids, and so I got a young one, and so she's 7, and so maybe it's just being dad, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I have 2 older ones, and one that's 25 and one that's 17, getting ready to graduate high school. So I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, I'm happy where I'm at. I'm lucky to be in the city that I'm at. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds. But if not, I'm happy to retire as Deputy Chief of Santa Monica.
All right. And I know you mentioned you went to Cal State Northridge. Are you originally from Cali?
I'm not. I'm originally from California. I'm originally from Palm Springs, right? Nobody's from Palm Springs, but I am. My family moved there.
The Inland Empire?
Yeah, the Inland Empire, that's right. My family moved there in the 50s after the Black Flight from the South. And so I'm the first generation Californian. Me and my brother's here, but my entire family's from the South.
Oh, okay. And then you said you were in the military. What branch?
I was U.S. Navy. I was a corpsman, so veteran of Desert Shield and Desert Storm. So joined the Navy and became a Marine.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you
for your service.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my honor.
All right. Where you said you went to Desert Storm and Shield?
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you?
So obviously it's a way different war than what's going on now. So when I initially joined, I was a reservist, and so we took the place of the active duty folks who were here in the United States, who then deployed over to Iraq. But our military was way bigger then. It was much larger then, and then we had to downsize. In the early '90s or in the mid '90s, there was a downsize of the military, and then the joint operations of things operating together. So it was a little bit different experience. So now they're sending reservists over. They're doing 1 and 2 year tours over there. All of our terms were here stateside. So. I mean, it disrupted life, but it wasn't nearly as bad as what the troops are going through now, and have been for the last 20 years.
All right. And, you look like you're in pretty good shape. Did you play any ball, any sports?
Believe it or not, I'm a wrestler, right? And so
wow.
I wrestled in high school, coached wrestling for about 20 years. And so that was my thing. So I still work out, still do things. And
real wrestling, not the can you smell what the Rock is cooking sort of stuff, right?
None of that stuff. Collegiate level wrestling, yeah. Collegiate level.
Oh, are you into UFC and MMA and all that?
I am.
Yeah. You doing any training in
No. I'm too old now. Like I'm gonna fall apart. So
never too old, Chief. Never too old.
Too old to get hit. Too old to fall down. So. But I love working out. It's kind of the only thing that kind of keeps me sane.
It's got to keep us, together.
Right.
As we get older, that's the only thing that keeps us together.
That's right.
Keeps us together, and stress.
That's right.
Stress was. Got a funny story yesterday. In my city, we got a worldwide bike event. Cycling event that comes through once a year, and so I was doing traffic control yesterday up by a golf course. And, in those events, when you got these bicyclists going 40, 50 miles an hour down the street, you got to, make sure that it's locked down, that, cars don't come through. Right. Well, this lady came through to park at her house, and I'm yelling at her from down the street, get your car off the course, get your car off the course. And then she was just taking her sweet time as these cyclists come by and almost crashed into her. Anyway, so this guy comes up to me from behind, at the golf course, and says, that stress isn't good for you, sir. And I turn around like, who is this? He was my doctor. My real doctor.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So that's stress. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he knows. He knows, man. Whatever. So we gotta keep up on that on that mental health and that wellness and all that. What's the mental health in the wellness program over here in Santa Monica? I know it's got to be pretty nice and robust here.
It is. So we have our peer advisors throughout the department, and we have a conjoined system with other police departments. And so if you're uncomfortable talking with someone from our department, you can talk to someone else from another department. Our city also has a pretty robust EAP program so that you can go out and talk to someone. We also have a staff psychiatrist who's on staff. So if any of our officers come to a traumatic situation that's there, so she's contracted with our police agency, so we can send our officers immediately to her to check on her. We have a very vibrant chaplain program. So they're in our building every day, kind of doing things and talking to our officers. They're part of our family. They're in roll calls. They're in briefings. They do check-ins. And so, yeah, we really focus on it. We make it a big issue in our department to focus on the mental health. We want you to be physically healthy.
Yep.
But we also need you to be mentally healthy, because that is the worst part of things. And I think what people don't realize is that sometimes when you do the right thing, and it's a righteous use of force, it's a righteous situation, or something happens, that those cause traumas regardless, right? And you can get into, we had the Santa Monica College shooting at our school, right? And in Santa Monica, right, 6 people were killed. We had officers who did the right thing, who even on the periphery, who had some mental health issues, and as folks, as we move into 2023, folks are now going, this is okay to talk about, right? This is okay to seek help. It's okay to talk. Right, in our era, right, we didn't do that. We're gonna give me 3 days off, give me back to work. I want to just do this, right? We eliminate those stigmas, and they have to be gone, right? We have to understand that every little thing, you go to one traffic accident where somebody dies or you see something, that's a little nick. We go to domestic violence, and that triggers something that happened in your childhood. That's a nick. We see an elderly person die, or a suicide. Those are nicks, and maybe in just the incident itself doesn't necessarily amount to anything, but over time, over a 30-year career, all those nicks, right? It's death by 1,000 cuts, death by 1,000 paper cuts, and we bleed to death, and we don't understand why, right? We have the highest rate of suicide, we have the highest rate of alcoholism and divorce in our profession. Right, there's a reason behind that, and so if we can get, and we owe it to our officers, we owe it to our people to make sure that we're preaching these things and to give them the tools to be, not only mental health but resilient. How do I deal with this stuff? How do I talk about this stuff? And the best way to do it is to make it normal conversation, right? To reach out to people, hey man, how you doing? Yeah. To do buddy check-ins. How you doing? What's going on?
Yeah. I think that's more acceptable with the generation now, as opposed to when you and I came up in this profession,
100%.
And so that we don't stigmatize it, from a management side, and even from officers, the OGs out there, the sergeants and the senior officers, so long as they don't stigmatize the young officers that have that mentality now for mental health and wellness. I think it should be spread throughout the agency, and it'll be a good thing.
That's right.
Absolutely, yeah. All right.
That's right.
So I appreciate you letting me into your beautiful facility here and chopping it up with you. But like I said, we are not done. I got some trivia here for you.
Okay.
So let me get this set up for you. Let me pull this up. You can look there at that screen down here. And this here is called
Black or Blue, 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 Black or Blue.
my Black or Blue game. And bring that up here. There we go. All right, so I'm going to show you, since you're in sports, we talked about earlier that you have gone to some softball and all that sort of stuff, baseball and softball. So this your category today is Diamonds Are a Guy's Best Friend. This is my Black or Blue game, and that means Major League Baseball team colors. black or blue. I'm just going to show you a team, and you just tell me if they, in their uniform, has black in it or has blue in it.
All right.
That's real simple. You
I
should
will
know.
do-
You should know these major league teams.
We'll
right?
see.
We should know these major league teams. All right, here's your first one here. How about the Chicago Cubs, black or blue?
Black. They're the Black Sox.
Oh, come on. They're not the Black Sox. The Chicago Cubs are blue.
And you said that too.
Look at that. Yeah, their uniform is blue there. All right, we'll get you back on track here. We'll get you back on track here. How about the Pittsburgh Pirates, black or blue?
They have black, yellow.
They definitely have black and yellow. When that song, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Yeah. My kid listens to that. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And just like the Steelers, yeah, black and gold. Yep. So, all right, we 1 for 1. Here's your next one here. How about the Chicago White Sox? That's probably who you're talking about.
That is who I'm talking about.
Yeah, they're black. Yes, they do have black in their uniform there. Okay, we got you going here. How about the Atlanta Braves?
Well, they're not blue, so you got to have black in there.
Oh, they are blue.
The Atlanta Braves?
The Atlanta Braves. Maybe you're
Atlanta
talking
Braves
about the
were red.
Atlanta Hawks. You're talking about the Atlanta, the Atlanta Falcons, baby.
Damn.
Football, yeah. All right, 2 for 2. Come on, let's go here. Let's get a streak here going.
Okay.
The Yankees.
Definitely black. No, blue, right?
It's blue. Yes, yeah,
Definitely
pinstripe.
blue.
Yeah, blue. Yeah, I do get. Yeah, it's a dark blue.
It's that dark blue.
It's
but
a
it's
dark blue.
definitely
Yeah, it's definitely blue. All right, we got you there. How about the Colorado Rockies?
Definitely blue. And black, right? No. Yeah.
They're black. Yeah, you said
Aren't
black.
they blue
Yeah,
and black?
that's black. It's purple. and
Purple.
black. Purple and black.
Jeez.
Yeah. How much of a major league?
I'm a Dodger fan, but
Oh, okay. Well, maybe there might be a Dodger question in here.
All right.
But how about the Baltimore Orioles?
So they're orange and black.
Yep, orange and black. Yep, orange and blue probably don't go too well. Oh, maybe the Broncos might say a little different though. But
Nasty.
in football, yeah. All right. Looks like you coming out the hole here. How about the Houston Astros?
Yeah, blue.
Blue. Yes. Oh, there's orange and blue right there.
Right.
Okay, yeah, orange and blue. They're not. The Dodgers aren't fans of the Astros. 'Cause,
Absolutely not.
Yeah, what happened a couple years ago. But I digress. How about the San Francisco Giants? They're not fans of them either.
No, they're not. And they're definitely not blue, so we know they're black.
Yeah, we know that the Giants are black. And how about your last one here? Oh, not next to your last one. How about the Arizona Diamondbacks?
The Diamondbacks. They are definitely black.
Yep, they're definitely in black. Yeah, red and black. And this one's your last one here. You got to know this.
That's right, Dodger blue.
Dodger blue. Dodger blue.
Let's go.
All right, yeah. So we got you on track here. Yeah, diamonds are a guy's best friend. Kind of different diamonds than what women are used to, what they
Sir.
want. Yeah, I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Letting me into your facility. How about some words of wisdom before we get you out of here, real quick?
I think that our profession is, we consistently say that it's on, changing and ever evolving. And I think that, one of the things that we have to do in law enforcement is adapt. And as long as we are adapting and we are meeting the needs of our community and the folks that want us and need us, we're going to be successful, right? And we have to do that by continuously listening. And continually changing and adapting to the needs, right? Some of the things we do in the job have to happen, right? We still have to respond to calls, right? We still have to do the things that we have to do. And we have to learn and figure out ways to leverage technology to do that better. But ultimately, in the end, it's a people job. And as long as we are picking the right people to do it, I had a chief once told me, this is a people job, right? And people are messy. And as long as we are making sure that we pick the right people and that we're constantly watching our people and doing the job, we're going to be fine in what we do. And it's our job to go back and as leaders to make sure that we're mentoring and bringing up those folks who are like-minded and holding to some of those traditions and can change. Right, and so I think sometimes I'm an old dog and an old animal, right? And so people are telling me, no, we got to do this, Chief. We got to do this, and I'm like, maybe they're right. Maybe right. Yes, and you have to have that ability to adapt, listen to those dissenting voices to get better. That's how we change this job.
Yep, and in this profession, cops hate change.
That's right. That's right. We hate the way things are, and we hate change.
Absolutely. All right, Chief. Hey, I appreciate you.
I appreciate
letting me talk to you, and hey, shake your hand there.
Thank
I appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Yo, that was a dope interview I just had with Santa Monica, California Deputy Police Chief Darrick Jacob. Hey, I really appreciate everything that you've allowed me to do here today, Deputy Chief Jacob, by letting me into your facility and chopping it up about you and your career here in Santa Monica, and hey, in the city as a whole. If you guys out there appreciated this interview just as much as I did, make sure you click those like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. Or show me some love if you're listening to me on your favorite podcast platform by rating the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. I'm going to be back real soon with another interview just like this one, maybe on a one-on-one in person or maybe virtual, but always a dope interview. So till then, stay black and blue. My name is Dale. I'm out. Peace.
This has been a Maitre D' Entertainment presentation.